Welcome to this explainer. Okay, if you're watching this, chances are you know exactly what it feels like to be a leader under immense pressure. You know the drill. You're a manager, maybe an executive or a team lead, and boom, you have exactly 24 hours to make a really tough, high-stakes decision. You can literally feel that weight, right? That intense pressure to just solve it somehow and move on. But, as we all know, rushing to a solution without a reliable compass, that can honestly create way more problems than it solves. So today we're diving into a super practical framework straight from Kenneth Blanchard and Norman Vincent Peale's work on ethical management. We're going to explore a method that takes, get this, just 30 seconds, but it has the power to completely change the character of literally every difficult choice you face.
Let's start with a really incredible story from the source material about a highly successful director. This person managed to maintain a completely flawless track record over a 30-year career. I mean, 30 years without a single major ethical misstep or a catastrophic bad call. How in the world did they do it? Well, before every single tough decision, they would pause, take a breath, and quietly whisper 3 specific questions to themselves. It was just a private 30-second mental framework. And we are going to break down exactly what those 3 questions are based on Blanchard and Peale's methodology so you can build this exact same safety net for yourself.
Here's our roadmap for today. First up, the 30-second rule. Then we'll unpack the 3 questions. Is it legal? Is it balanced? And worthy of me? And finally, we'll prep for your next big decision.
All right, let's jump right into section 1, the 30-second rule.
Now, the core premise here is actually quite profound. Making an ethical decision isn't just about memorizing a list of rules. It's really a matter of active verification. Think about it. Most bad decisions out there in the business world, they don't come from actual malice or some kind of evil intent. No, they're usually just the result of rushing, of making choices without taking a second to check them first. So this framework forces you to run your decision through 3 strict steps. Is it legal? Is it balanced? And is it worthy of me? And listen, here is the absolute non-negotiable rule of this 30-second check. If your decision fails even one of these steps, the whole thing gets tossed out. It falls right at that hurdle, and you stop. You just don't proceed.
Moving on to section 2.
Question 1. Is it legal?
So on the surface, asking, is it legal, sounds almost trivial, doesn't it? It seems incredibly basic, but trust me, it's not. This is actually the most technical hurdle of the entire framework. Because we aren't just asking about the strict letter of state or federal law here, we're talking about the spirit of the law. Ask yourself, are you looking for a sneaky loophole, or are you truly honoring the intent? This actually includes your internal company regulations, your contractual obligations to partners or vendors, and the specific code of ethics within your own profession. If your decision cracks at any single one of these points, like say it violates an internal HR policy even if it's technically lawful, the decision fails at the very first obstacle. It stops right there, and there's absolutely no need to go any further.
Let's look at section 3. Question 2, is it balanced?
Okay, if that first question was the most technical, this second one is easily the most complex. Is the decision balanced? This step requires you to ensure fairness for absolutely all stakeholders involved. Picture a scale in your mind. Is this fair to your employees? Is it fair to your clients? What about your shareholders? Or even the wider community? It's absolutely vital to ask if the decision is fair, not just for a quick win today, but over the long haul. If you project this out 3, 5, or 10 years into the future, does the scale stay balanced or does it completely tip over? Blanchard and Peale highlight a really fascinating insight here. The vast majority of real leadership dilemmas aren't just a simple black and white choice between good and bad. It's almost never that obvious. Most dilemmas are actually a clash between what is good for Group A versus what is good for Group B. And because of that, a fair, balanced compromise doesn't just magically happen on its own. You have to actively seek it out and craft it.
Which brings us to section 4. Question 3. Worthy of me?
All right, this is the final step, and honestly, it is by far the most psychological. This is what Blanchard and Peale call the mirror test. Simply put, how will I feel about myself after making this decision? One of the very best ways to visualize this is through the newspaper test. I want you to literally imagine right now that the difficult choice you're allowed to make gets leaked to the press. Tomorrow morning, your exact decision, with your name slapped right next to it, is the headline on the front page of the newspaper. How would you feel reading that over your morning coffee? Would you feel a sense of pride, or would you get that dreadful pit in your stomach? This little micro-scenario instantly forces you to confront the public weight and the ultimate accountability of your choice.
Now, if the newspaper test is all about public accountability, this next test is all about your private integrity. They call it the family test. Imagine sitting down at the dinner table late tonight. Your child, or maybe your spouse, or just someone you deeply, deeply love and respect, looks across the table at you and simply asks, "Hey, what did you do today?" What would you say about this specific decision? Could you explain it to them while holding your head high? The source material makes a really profound point right here. This third question isn't just about some abstract sense of morality, it's intensely practical. It is quite literally about whether you can psychologically carry the heavy burden of this decision for a long time. Because the reality of leadership is that we don't just live with a bad decision for a single afternoon, we end up living with it for years.
Okay, moving to Section 5, your next big decision.
So we've covered the theory, but I really want to give you a highly practical call to action based on this framework. Sometime this week, right before your next important meeting where you know a tough call has to be made, I want you to physically take out a piece of paper or a notebook. At the top, write down the decision you're about to make. Then literally draw 3 checkboxes. Is it legal? Is it balanced? Is it worthy of me? Take 30 seconds. Run your choice through that gauntlet. Check those boxes. And remember that strict rule we talked about earlier. If even a single one of those boxes remains empty, if the decision fails even one test, you need to step back. Actually, you need to return straight to the drawing board and completely rethink your approach.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final, really provocative thought to chew on. Are you truly ready to carry your next decision for years to come? This 30-second ethics check isn't just about keeping yourself out of trouble. It's about building a legacy of decisions that you can proudly stand by. Thank you so much for joining me for this analysis. In our next explainer, we're going to dive much deeper into that final psychological hurdle, and we'll explore how to practice the mirror test as a daily discipline. Until then, keep those 3 questions close by.